Hello everyone, welcome to your channel Data Science Studio, and today we are going to start with day 18 of Python programming for data science. So let's get started. In today's session we'll be discussing some of the more functionalities of Python DataFrame in Pandas, and we will start with first method, which is sample method. So let us read the file first. So we are reading about Titanic dataset, and the first method is sample. So sample method is actually used to return the random sample of items from an axis of data frame. So in this particular case, let's say that I want to, from the data set of Titanic, I want to get 10 random sample from the data set. So it will be by the way of using the sample method. So if you do that, you will get the 10 random sample. Now what this random state equal to 1 means? Random state equal to 1 means that every time when you are running this iteration, you will get the same sample. So it is not changing while you are doing a project. So more details on that. So if a fixed value is assigned like random state equal to 0 or 42 or any other integer, then no matter how many times the code is executed, the result would be the same. So it is just to get the same result over time when you are running the code again. Now there we were getting the 10 observations, but you can specify another parameter, which is fraction. So fraction means what fraction of data you want to extract. So here I want 20% of the data, and here replace is equal to true. So this is with replacement. With replacement means the probability of getting a single row selected multiple times is there. So a single row can be selected multiple times. So this is the concept of with replacement equal to true. So if you do that, you will get 20% of your data set, and with replace is true over here. So this kind of analysis is helpful when you want to get some random sample of your data set. Next important method is we want to use is isnull. So this method is used to get the null values present in the dataset. For example, I want to know that in the age column what all the null values present. So we can just use isnull. So it will give a boolean operator. With true means the missing value is present, and false means that it is not present. Now you can, on top of isnull, you can have some aggregate method like sum or mean to get the total number of null values. So there are 263 null values in the data set, and over here we can take the mean as well. So 20% of the data is missing values in case of age column. Now comes, once you have identified the null, it is important that you are if you want to drop null values. So if you want to drop null values, there are two ways you can drop it. Either you can drop on the index basis, which means the complete row will be dropped, or you drop on the column basis, which means if a null value is present in a column, that whole column will be dropped. Now let's say we see the data info. So here we see that cabin has lot of null values, age is having null values, and embarked is also a couple of null values. Now if I just do Titanic underscore drop dot data dot drop na, so it will drop all the rows exactly, because cabin is actually present in very less rows. So it will drop all those rows where any of the column has null values. So here only 270 rows out of 1309 is having non-null data. If you want to drop column wise, so it will drop only those columns where null values are present. So you can see it dropped the cabin column, it dropped the age column, and it dropped the embarked column, because in these three columns null values are present. So most of the time we would want to drop the rows because we don't want to lose our columns. So but this, you should know that if you want to drop columns, what is the way out of it. Another way is you can select the subset of columns for which you want to drop null values. For example, I want to drop those null values which is present in either name or age column. So that way also we can do like this. Next method is called as fillna. So fillna is actually used to fill the null values with some data, and there are multiple ways we'll be seeing in our exploratory data analysis series also, but here are some ways which I want to show you how you can fill the null values. So let's say there is a data frame and there are a couple of null values over here. First thing is you can fill any random value. You can just use dataframe.fillna and pass the value as the parameter. So it will fill the same value in all wherever the null value is present. Next method is called as forward fill. What forward fill will do? Let's say there's in this particular data frame, I have null value over here, I have null value over here. So it will take the previous value and it will do the forward fill wherever null value is present. Only the first row will not be considered because there is no previous value for the first row. For rest of the row, it will just copy the previous row data. So if you do forward fill, so you can see that over here 14 is replaced, and since there are no previous values, so it is null only, and over here 11 is repeated. So this is the method of forward fill. Another method is you can pass a dictionary, and based on the column name you can specify what aggregate function or what fill function you want to use. For example, in the column M, I am trying to replace the null values with the mean of that column. In the column N is some random value. In the column O, it's a float value, and in column P, I am replacing with median. So if you want to have different functions for different columns to apply for null values, you can pass it as a dictionary as well. So here you can see the null values are replaced based on the different parameters we have passed inside the dictionary in a key value pair. Next important method is sort. So sort is basically used to sort your data. So now let's say this is my data set, and if I want to sort the age column, and it will show me like this. By default it is ascending order. If you want the data to be not in descending order, you can pass multiple columns as well. For example, I want to sort the data by age and fair, and ascending is equal to fall, which means it is descending order. So here you get the highest age followed by highest fair. So it takes the combination of age and fair to sort your data, and it is helpful when you want to do any kind of exploratory data analysis on your numerical data. And you can pass a key also, which is I can pass a lambda function. What it will actually do is it will sort the data set, and it will sort based on the key, which means it will convert everything into uppercase and then it will sort, because in sorting the uppercase and lowercase both take different precedence in terms of sorting. So I am passing a function inside the key. So every value of the name column will be converted into uppercase first and then it will be sorted. So you can see data like this. So this is how we can use sort underscore values method. And next method, which is similar to kind of we have in Excel as well, which is pivot. So this method returns a reshaped data frame based on index and column values, and it takes 3 parameters. One is index, one is columns, and another one is values. So index is actually the column used to make the new frames index, and column is what you want to make as new reshaped frame columns, and values what values you want to populate for those index and columns. So now let's say that we have a data frame like this, and I want to do a pivot on top of this data where my index will become A. So what is A? A is the Chennai and Bangalore. So the unique values will be taken as index and columns will be B. So B is the unique values in B is A1, B1 and C1. So these are the columns in the data set, and the values will be C. So for all these different combinations, you will see the data over here. So for example, if you want to picturize your data by way of different columns, you can use the pivot option over here. Next method we want to see is kind of a join, which is slightly similar to what we study in SQL as well. For example, we have concept of inner join, and in this particular case the join can happen either on index or a key column. So let's say we have two data frames, and here I have a column A which is the key column, and similarly here I have the common column which is the column in the data frame B. Now I want to join these two data frames based on the, it will automatically identify that column is the key column. So here I have to pass two parameters in addition to that. One is left suffix equal to underscore A and right suffix equal to underscore B. What does that mean? That since column is the key parameter or the key combination for the join, so underscore A will be applied in column 1, underscore B will be applied in column 2, so that it can differentiate between the two columns. So here you can see the data set. Both the data sets are combined based on the common indexes. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is combined based on the common indexes, and your wherever it is not present, data is not present, it is null. Now let's say that I want to specify, I want to take only common indexes. I don't want to include null values. Then you can have something called as inner. Inner is somewhat similar to what we have inner join as well, like this. So here you get the common indexes values, and the two data frames are joined. Another important method is concatenate method. So the concatenate method is actually used to concatenate, or it stacks pandas data frame or series along the specified axis. So let's say I have two data frames, DFA and DFB, and I am concatenating these two data frames. So it actually stacks your data, and by default it will do along the row. So here you see this is my first data frame, this is my second data frame, and it stacks one above the other. And if you want to do it on the column wise, then you can specify axis is equal to 1. So here it does on the column side, and there are two options you can pass. Here first option is outer, which means it will cover all the rows between the two data frames. Second option is inner, which means it will take the common indexes between the two values, like this. So it joins based on the common indexes at axis equal to 1. So this makes sense when axis is equal to 1, because it is stacking column wise. So you can have the common values across the index. So these are some of the important methods which you should be aware while working with pandas. We will have one last session for data frame in our upcoming lecture. So please subscribe, like and comment to your channel, and provide your feedback on the content, and stay tuned and stay connected. Thank you.